Hey guys, real quick before we get the video started, I want to let you guys know that as I was recording, I didn't realize that my mic wasn't, and so that's why the audio is a little weird. But should be just fine. The audio seemed fine as I was editing, so hopefully you guys enjoy. Let's go ahead and get back into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the home turf. Hopefully you're doing good and having a great day. I love you all, and I'm so glad you could join me. So we're switching it up today, especially with the things that have been happening within the past couple of days. There needs to be a little bit of a pick me up. And so hopefully I can do that by telling my story today, because man, is it interesting. It is so interesting. We're talking about the next ghost story in the series. And this one is a really good one. It's a lot scarier than the first one. So buckle up, guys, because it's going to get interesting. So when I was, a young kid, a little bit older, obviously, since the first incident happened, I believe I was around maybe 8, 9, 10, at the oldest. My family and I, we had always moved around a lot until I, was in high school. And we settled down for quite a few years. But especially in my younger years, we moved around a lot. And, as a poor family, we had always tried to find the cheapest places to live. And so we kind of found this spot a little bit of a ways away from the city, and we thought that was a really good spot. Hardly any noise pollution, didn't have to worry about anyone breaking into the house, and it was just seemed like an overall good deal, right? Well, what should have been a red flag for us, we decided to ignore, I guess. Well, I mean, I couldn't because I was like 8, 9, or 10, and so the adults should have been like, hey, what's going on? The reason for that is because the house was on a hill. We all know what happens when a house is in the middle of the woods and nowhere and on hills. We all know what happens, bro. We've seen the horror movies, right? And so but it seemed like a nice, small little house. And so we decided to go ahead and pick that spot and move in. Now, most of the house seemed fine. But of course, there were some places that just seemed off. And looking back at it now, I can see how it would really seem off. Because the backyard was tiny and it only had one clothesline. But all around the house, there was this overgrowth, essentially, that kind of boxed in the backyard. And kind of looking back at it now and reliving some of the memories, it really seemed off-putting. It really did. It just felt eerie. And of course, there's also the attic. Yes, it had an attic. It did have an attic. You would reach up to the ceiling and then pull it down, right? The stairs, anyways, that led up to the attic. And it was, I think it was a little bit unfinished. Now, the insulation was already there. The supports were already up there. But there was no finished flooring to it. And it was a little spacious, but it also kind of felt claustrophobic at the same time. And I always hated going anywhere near the attic. It's just something that really kind of creeped me out, especially as a kid. So looking back on those, couple of things, I can really see how that would kind of really put someone off. But everything seemed fine, right? And I can't remember exactly when this incident was, obviously, since it was so long ago, but I do remember the incident very clearly. And this was a time when my uncle had come down. He had brought his family in tow, and they were visiting for a few days. And so, me being younger, my little brother being younger, we were sent off to bed, right? I want to say maybe 8, 9 o'clock, something like that. as school kids are sent off to bed. So what my mother always did, and this is why the door was also cracked in the first uh, in the first video, is that um, again she would always crack the door, and so there would always be some kind of light showing through. It was some kind of comfort that really helped me sleep, especially as a kid. And so looking back at it now, that's something that I am kind of grateful for, because I remember going to sleep that night and listening to my uncle, my mom, her husband at the time, kind of just, cutting up, having a, a good old time. And at this time, it was just my uncle and his girlfriend, I believe, at the time. And they're all, I think, having drinks and just cutting up and whatnot. Um, while my brother and I are sleeping, I'm on the bottom bunk, and my brother is sleeping on the top bunk. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night, and the light is shining through into the bedroom, right? And so I remember looking over, and something absolutely scared the dog shit out of me. Because as soon as I look over, I see this tall, dark figure standing in the doorway. And the room was not very big. It was maybe, 20 square foot at most. And so as I'm standing, or as it's standing there, and I'm laying watching this thing just stare at me, the one thing that I notice and I can't ever remember are the eyes. The eyes were just glaring at me, staring at me, and just looking at, and just it wouldn't take its eyes off me. And I think this is something that a lot of people who experience sleep paralysis also experience as well, because almost every single sleep paralysis story that I've come across, they've all experienced the same thing. Um, that's why, and they also describe the same character: tall, dark figure, bright yellow eyes, um, and that's why I believe that it's something demonic. But back to the story. Um, Not only did it have bright yellow eyes, but I remember a top hat. And this is why he's called the Hat Man, is because of the bright yellow eyes and the tall hat. And as scary as it was, I could not move. And I tried so hard to just get even a whisper out. But the only thing that I could manage to do is mumble. Um, when you're in sleep paralysis and in your mind you're screaming, but one of the most terrifying things is that even though you are screaming in your mind, the only thing you are doing is just twitching and mumbling. And so with me not being able to do anything, I guess this demonic entity, right, had decided to take advantage of the opportunity. And it wasn't enough to just stand there and stare at me. It began to move closer to me. And I remember looking at it come closer to me, and it's standing there. I don't even remember seeing it move its legs, just kind of levitate towards me, and it's within inches of me. And I just look at it staring down at me, and then as closer and closer as it got, pretty much again within those few inches. Um, I remember waking up absolutely screaming. I mean, I was at the top of my lungs screaming. And so my mother was the first one that rushed in, trying to assess the situation. And I am just inconsolable. I'm just bawling my eyes out, explaining what I just saw. And of course, my mother couldn't explain it, and it was just such a big mystery. Um, but I know what I saw. It was one of the most terrifying things that I'd seen up until that point. There were scarier things that I've seen since then. But when we're talking about the paranormal, there are scarier things, and we'll get to that. But when it came to sleep paralysis, that is by far the scariest I had ever experienced. Because that's something that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting such a tall figure, right, to just be levitating towards me and then looming over me, right, for whatever reason. Let alone just seeing a tall, dark figure with bright yellow eyes. Um, but since then, I hadn't really experienced any kind of sleep paralysis, and I hope I never do, because it's terrifying. It's very terrifying. I've seen other people go through sleep paralysis, but uh, I haven't been through it again myself. And so that was that's a memory that has stuck with me uh, ever since I was that young. And one interesting thing to kind of think of is that as you're living, whether you're a child or not, some of the most traumatic experiences you go through, you will always remember.
And I can't ever remember.
You will always remember. Whether you're having trouble remembering important details or not, you still remember the overall incident. And so, what's really interesting to know too is that you can have good times as well, but those often you don't remember as much as the most traumatic times. But fuck, do they make for good stories? And so, my mom actually, brushed the whole experience off later on because she couldn't explain it. A lot of the times when people can't explain things, they just brush it off. Well, until they experience it themselves. um, but yeah, that was it was a terrifying story. Boy, it was a terrifying experience, but it's also a terrifying story as well. And so I hope this was a story that you guys enjoyed. It was a little bit of a short story, but I think it's one that's well worth telling because it's one that many people experience, but it's also unique. So if you guys happen to have your own experiences with the paranormal or uh, with sleep paralysis, and you would love to tell your story here on the home turf, please let me know. I am always down to tell new stories. That's one thing that I love to do is tell stories. So just let me know, guys, and I'll be more than happy, to tell your story. But hopefully this is a story that you did enjoy. And I hope to see you again for the next one. Guys, please take care of yourselves, both mind and body. Okay? Get fit here and get fit physically. Okay? Right? Go get active. You don't necessarily have to go to the gym, but just go get active. Okay? Also, the whole point of the channel here. The home turf is to come together, figure it all out together, right, and lift each other up. That's the whole point of the channel. Okay, so do me that favor. If someone's having a rough day, lift them up. All right. There's too much hate. There's too much negativity. So let's bring some positivity and love. Okay, let's do that. Thank you all for watching. Again, I really hoped you enjoyed this story in this video. And if you did, that's great. I hope to see you again soon. I love you all. I wish you a very, very, very good day. Anything that you need from me, please reach out to me. My door is always open. Okay? I'll talk to you guys soon.